Back in Black Ops 1, we were given a computer terminal that was accessible through the main menu. With the right credentials, you can find mail, documents, images, and sounds which further fleshed out the campaign's universe. It even had a dedicated server for a group of scientists known as Majestic 12, who studied Group 935 at Area 51. But something very interesting about the terminal is that it contains information about events after the campaign had ended, pushing well into the 80s. A mysterious figure who pops up in that time frame is known only as X. They were never brought up again in Black Ops 2, along with many events depicted in the terminal, leading some to dismiss them outright. However, there is evidence for who X might be, and they could have a major role in Cold War zombies. So, what did X do in the campaign terminal? In the years 1977 and 1978, X left notes on the desks of Alex Mason, Jason Hudson, Gregory Weaver, and an important figure in the CIA, Richard Kane. These notes are short but very intriguing. Mason received 2 notes. In the first, he is told that Daniel Clark, one of the scientists working on the Nova 6 project for Dragovich, has a brother in Johannesburg. For context, in the 70s, Mason is still dealing with the brainwashing by Reznov and is hell-bent on erasing any trace of the Nova project and searching for associates of Dragovich, and X is aware of this. On another note, he tells Mason that Frank Woods is still alive after his presumed death near the end of Black Ops. This note is the reason many would dismiss the terminal as no longer canon, considering that Black Ops 2 ignores this note and clarifies that Woods escaped years earlier, so Mason would be aware that he is alive. In his note to Jason Hudson, X tells Hudson not to trust someone named D. King, who is an associate of Richard Kane. In his note to Richard Kane, which does not appear in the game but is contained within the data for the terminal, just mistakenly replaced with one of Mason's notes, X tells Kane that he is on their list. And finally, X's note to Weaver tells him that he has a niece in Moscow that survived despite Stalin's purge, making her Weaver's last living relative. Whoever this X person is, they actively dislike the management within the CIA, but trust Mason, Hudson, and Weaver, and actively support them. So who is X? Eric Maynard and Cal Jitsu, 2 prominent storyline theorists in the COD Zombies community, have proposed that X was originally none other than Dr. Ludwig Maxis. The original idea was derived from the fact that the computer that Maxis speaks from in the moon is referred to in the game files as X computer. It makes more sense when you consider that Maxis was inside of Griffin Station's computer system from 1945 to as far as 2035, almost an entire century where he could have been trying to influence history. To add to this, the codename X is always stylized with 2 dashes followed by an X, and then 2 more dashes, dash dash X dash dash, just enough characters to spell out Maxis. But wouldn't it make more sense for Maxis to go by M? No, because Monty goes by M. And Dr. Schuster even says that he never knew anyone in Group 935 that went by M. Maxis' motivation in nudging history in this way is not totally clear. Maybe it could be the only way to achieve a victory in the endgame. There's a problem, though. In Black Ops 2, the campaign seems to deviate from the stories told within the terminal, actively retconning the note to Mason about Wood's survival. The CIA had an operation led by Richard Kane to try and to eliminate Mason, Hudson, and Weaver as they were deemed a threat. This operation I'm going to butcher the name of, but was known as Operation Charybdis. But Black Ops 2, again, mentions nothing like this, with Mason and Hudson continuing to work with the CIA, with no mention of Mason going rogue to hunt down Project Nova scientists. The story would end here, but Black Ops Cold War stories changes things. Black Ops Cold War's campaign is meant as a direct continuation of the original Black Ops, taking place before the events of the 80s of Black Ops 2. It should simply be an interquel between the two, but it's never quite that simple. Cold War goes out of its way to canonize Modern Warfare 2019 within its universe, even including a young Imran Zakhaev in one mission. It would be argued that the world of Modern Warfare and Black Ops 2 do not quite align, despite only being set roughly 6 years apart. Some devs have said that Black Ops 2 through 4 are still in this timeline, with some small nods to them in-game, but not much more than that. Then there's the fact that the old multiverse of the Ether storyline was collapsed, leading to the events of Cold War Zombies, which is tied deeply to its campaign. Similarly, the Ether universe was tied at its roots to Black Ops 1 through 4 with numerous references, and specifically in the terminal, direct mentions of Group 935. But Group 935 and Element 115 cannot exist in Cold War Zombies with them being banished to the Dark Ether. How then can Cold War be a direct sequel to Black Ops? Let's return to X. Say for a moment that Ludwig Maxis did not exist, or at least, if he did, Edward Richtofen was not around to betray him, and he never got put into the computer terminal on the moon. Then who could X be? This scenario describes a post-multiverse timeline, the one in Cold War Zombies, and the best fit for X would be Samantha Maxis. She would also be around in the 70s and has a special interest in working with the CIA as a member of the B&D. These mysterious notes from X could easily be her attempts to help the people she trusts in the CIA. This would even help explain how her and Weaver could become close, with her informing Weaver that his niece is alive, information she could find as someone spying on the Soviets. This would mean that X notes actually serve as an important piece of the Cold War zombie story, showing how Samantha got involved with the CIA in the first place. There are a couple of different ways to interpret this connection. In one, the notes from X never actually existed in the version of Black Ops in the old multiverse, and the terminal is actually from the Cold War version of events, tying in the new Samantha Maxis. Another way to interpret it is that Ludwig Maxis did indeed try to alter the course of history in the multiverse, and Samantha is trying to do the same thing her father did in the new universe. Who do you think X is? Are they going to be important going forward, or is this just a leftover remnant from an untold story? Let us know in the comments or on the forum, callofdutyzombies.com.